Hey everybody. Hey Kevin. Welcome back from my lunch. All right, what are we doing here? So next tip about three battles at once. I never actually concluded what I wanted to do. Something yummy. Same thing as yesterday, but yeah, it was good. I'm feeling good. Oh, it was your lunch too? Wow. I was gonna say you can eat while you watch if you want. I can't eat while I watch because I'm the one coding. Unless other tip is possible and you haven't done it yet. Okay, let's think about this. What tells you that you can have multiple battles? Just the tip system for now. I'm not sure if there's anything else. I don't think there are any like UI cues. Ah, I see. Late eating. Not for me. I am an early eater. I usually get done with a stream. It's like 3:30 or 4, something like that. And I try to eat within the next hour usually. It's like very early. And again, I feel like I work up an appetite streaming. Such active work, you know? Let's see. Nothing here does. You know what we could do? We could have a tooltip on the start battle button that says you can have multiple battles going at once until you've actually started multiple battles. I think it's pretty similar to having tips. So what if we just allowed multiple tips on the screen at once? Option number 1, allow multiple tips on the screen at once. Option number 2, show the tip but then hide it if it hasn't shown or if it hasn't been acted on in a while. Option 2B, show it again after some amount of time. You still haven't started multiple battles. Option number 3, show the tip once and wait for you to interact with it or act on it. More VODs for later. Hey, Chef Alton, do you actually watch the VODs? Hey, Diamond. Have a great day in stream. Gonna lurk. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you have a good day too and a good lurk. And I guess the other question here is, what does it mean for players if they don't learn this information? I think okay, here's what I think I want to do. Regardless of everything I've written and thought about, I think I want this. After getting your third adventurer, show the tip about multiple battles if you haven't already done them. And then hide the tip if you do them. I think that's it. I think that's what I want to go with. Yeah, a tip queue. I think that could be interesting. I just don't want there to be too many things there. And I think having them auto dismiss is good because I have seen a lot of people play and just ignore them for like 20 plus minutes. So I think that if you don't see it when it pops up the first time, you're probably not gonna see it. Maybe we need to make them more obvious. Maybe that's another thing this is pointing to. Did I have something like that written there? Yeah. This is because lots of people tend to miss them. A couple hours each morning during some cardio usually. Sometimes botland ones if I'm up to date on current events. Wow, cool, yeah. Neat. Point Wendy's arrow. Just like 7 arrows. Look at this thing. Yeah, I like this. I think I'm gonna do this. After getting your third adventurer, show the tip about multiple battles if you haven't already done them, and then hide the tip if you do them, yeah. All right, let's work on it. So we need to know somewhere how many battles you've started or whether you've started multiple battles. Now that same thing from earlier kind of applies, which is how many times do you need to do this before we're like, yeah, you understand that you can do it? And I think even just doing it once is probably fine. So I think I'm just going to put a tip, just a Boolean somewhere. Where do we have, there is no load from save data here. I'm just trying to figure out where should we store this. Okay, it could go really anywhere. It could go in like battle panel even. Pretty much anywhere that has a load function already. Yeah, this does. Start instance save data. Yeah, we could just store it in here, like a Boolean. You unlock the settings menu. There was a game like that. It's called like Upgrade Everything, and it even kind of changed the graphics and the music in the game. I like the idea. It's like a Newgrounds era game. So I'm thinking of putting it here. Public bool has had multiple battles open at once. Has run multiple battles at once. I'm just trying to make this a little bit more succinct. Hey, out of curiosity here, make this variable name more succinct. Can it do this? Hey, Crimson. Thanks for the raid. How'd everything go today? Hey, Scotty. Welcome in. Wow, that's what I get for trying AI. What did it even do? It didn't even do the thing I wanted it to do. I just wanted to make this more succinct. Oh yeah, welcome in, welcome in. Crim says hi. Oh, did Crim have to leave? Oh no, Crim's right there. Glitch is speaking for Crimson. What do I take this to mean? We just entered into Idler Fest on Monday. And for those who don't know, it's a pretty minor festival. If you click Steam and scroll down, you might see a banner for it, but sometimes you won't. You'll see a Monster Hunter thing instead, and it just won't show up. So it's a very, very low-key festival, I feel. But yeah, every once in a while, you refresh the page, you see Idler Fest, and if you go there and click free demos, and wait a second. No, that's not where I could do that. Top demos. Yeah, and then go to like page 8. Oh, wait, no, there it is. Okay, so it's not always on page 8. I think they cycle it in here. That's actually kind of interesting. It's supposed to be based on the lifetime maximum number of concurrent players or something. But anyway, Skeleseller is showing up there now, which is super cool. And if you haven't seen the game already, it is a very laid back town management game. And you send adventurers into battle. Check out this cool background we have here now, the walking to the portal thing. And then I should probably move this so you can actually see. And then when you win the battle, which I'm just going to force a win right here, you get items which you sell in town, and you get money and you use that to buy a bunch of stuff. So that's the general overview of the game. It is in demo right now, so you could get it from Steam if you want to. More importantly, more important than you even playing and having fun playing the game is clicking the add to your wish list button over here. Anyway, I hope you're streaming well, Crimson. Shout out to Crimson. I watch Crimson occasionally. I don't watch very many streamers to begin with, and it's only in these like little pockets of time. So on a Tuesday or Thursday of Crimson streaming, I find him to be entertaining, and he's making a cool game. So do check him out. All right, so has run multiple battles at once. We got this here. We're gonna save this. Defaults to false. Yeah. So we just need to keep track of whether you've done this. And I think this is the only thing that can know to do this. Got to figure out food. Hope the stream goes well today. Thanks. And yeah, I hope you have some good food. I wonder if post-stream meals taste better than regular meals. I never thought about this until right now. But it's like you really had to work for that food. We'll find out. Yeah, thanks again and take care. So whenever you create an instance, here it is, we could know how many instance slots you have. Actually, we don't even need to do this, right? Don't we already have something about like the maximum number? Is it max battles? Yeah. We have this right here. Town num instance slots. We do this every time you start a new battle, right? We should. Why don't we? Oh, because you have to do it from here. Party changed. Huh. No, this doesn't know about it. Man, okay, well, the instances manager definitely has something for this. Does it produce a signal? No. Man. Hey, Explosive James. Thanks for all the feedback. I wrote down quite a lot based on what you said. And also, your feedback is aligning with some of the stuff other people said. And it mostly, I'd say, had to do with, how do I even say this? Like presentation stuff almost, not like small technical things. So I'm glad we're getting past a lot of those issues. We had a problem on the Steam Deck. I actually just learned what this is due to. So we have this file and it says window.size viewport height is set to 1080. The Steam Deck has 800 pixels, not 1080. And same thing, I don't remember what the width is. It's like 1280 or 1200 or something. So again, there's like 700 pixels you can't see there. And it would still try spawning the viewport at that size, and things would look weird and you couldn't move the mouse everywhere. So I wrote a fix yesterday so that when you start on the Steam Deck for the first time, it goes into full screen mode and it seems like it's fixed everything. So stuff like that, people used to report on quite a lot, but as we fixed more and more of it, it's gotten better. All right, well, there are two options we have here. Either just save this from instances manager or emit a signal to battle panel. I think saving this from here makes more sense, but it means that two things can produce this. Actually, that doesn't make sense, does it? No, it doesn't. But this should be the thing to track it. I don't know. I'm torn. Create instance slot is what we care about. Yeah. And we want to know if you have two of these. Could just make a public boolean here. It is a little weird though. Uploaded the edited video if you need it. Mostly edited out grinding and waiting around. Uploaded to YouTube? Because I was going to say you should share the link. If you want to share the link, I will probably watch it. But I don't want you to feel like, I don't even want you to feel like you had to do that. I guess you've already done it. I appreciate it though. Yeah, if you share the link, I'll write it on my list. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, either DM it to me or if you're fine with it being public, then share it in Discord. Either one's fine with me. Oh, wait, maybe you're one of the people I found? No, these people have a bunch of hashtags, which means that they're actually trying to get their video out there. So that's probably not you. Although maybe it is. Huh, yeah, I'm curious. I'll have to look into it later. Okay, what did I decide? I mean, we could make this public here. Public bool has run multiple battles at once. Get private set. And when you load, this doesn't ever get load called on it, but this does. Do we have the instances manager though, right? Yeah, load from save data. Just go make this function. I think this makes more sense than what I was doing. Yeah. Now, what is that? What ID do I use? This is just VS Code. One of those videos has this hilarious description. Do you ever have moments where you want everything done for you while you're gone? That becomes possible in this game as you let adventurers do all the adventuring and the merchants do all the merchanting. Founder of the place, a skeleton wants to develop this place into a big community, and your help is needed to direct the place toward fame. I wonder if they wrote that out or used AI or what. All right, so since this is the thing that saves this, I guess we're gonna put this here. It's not instance map, it's instances manager, which doesn't exist. Oh, that works. It's kind of weird. It's definitely kind of weird, but I think it'll work. So now we can keep track of whether you've started multiple battles, except for we can't because I didn't actually do that yet. All right, we're about to fix that though. Create slot here. We return it, but this had a way of knowing whether you're at the maximum. Num instance slots is just based on the number of instance slots, which is based on the children. So something needed to have added it. Where do we add child instance slot? We don't. What? Get instance slots. Wait a second. It's num instance slots. Something has to be creating this. I am very confused. Oh, there it is. I missed that. Yeah, here it is. All right, so then if num instance slots is greater than 1, then you have now set this thing. We need a signal for this. We need it from somewhere. Did you move away from GDScript? I was only really using it for the prototype. And then, yeah, I switched to C#. This Skeleseller codebase never had GDScript in it. It was just for the prototype. Why do you use underscore to name variables? I think that's a C# convention for private variables. C# private variable naming convention. Yeah, started with an underscore. Convention is highly recommended as it makes it easier to distinguish private fields and local variables and methods. Yeah, and I like that. I like it. I think it's a good convention. My voice means it's worse for you watching it than me having it pseudo public. What? Why isn't it turning into a link I can? Oh, because it's the .be thing there. Let's click this really fast. I think when it's this kind of link, it'll turn it into a tab complete thing. It didn't. Wait, what? What's going on with this? Why did it turn the other ones into cells, but not this one? Huh. I don't know what's causing that. Unlisted? Oh, is that why? Yeah, those were definitely public. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Explosive James. Yeah. And thank you, Broken Crown. Yeah, as many wish lists as we can get. That's what we're aiming for here. If anyone still hasn't clicked that button, please do. All right, so the issue is that we're going to need that battle system tip, and it's going to need to listen to something. And just like how we have the tip on spending a skill point, where is that? Skill tip? Ah, there it is. Yeah, has met conditions to close. It just has spent skill point, which is on spent skill point, which is something that we have through the town. Yeah, so we could listen through the instances manager. There could be like a has just set multiple at once. If not, has run multiple battles at once. Then set it to true and also emit the thing. I guess we could just combine this with this. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, started multiple battles for the first time. Done about. Cool. Good. Is this updating the demo or a future iteration? It's the demo still, yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to be doing demo updates for the next month. Then afterward, I'll still need feedback, but I'm not actually sure where we should try to get it from. Yeah, actually, I don't know how that should work. Like at some point, right now we have, let's say like 90 minutes of gameplay. At some point, we're going to have the like 5 to 10 hours that I want. And that means that we're going to go from 90 minutes to something that's more than what you should get for a demo. And maybe that's at the like the 2 hour mark or something like that. Or maybe we're already there. Maybe it's about 90 minutes. I don't know. I don't want to just have the game be totally free right up until we launch it. So yeah, we probably need some sort of cap, but I also need feedback from players. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put it on itch so only the people following can get updates or something. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Hey, Scoreline, it's going pretty well. I think we're making good progress. I'm happy with everything so far. All right, now we can go do the rest of this, which is this bit here will not be a timed tip anymore. It's going to be something like this. Actually, it's probably best to do it like this one. So it's going to be called multiple simultaneous battles tip. Okay, so has started multiple battles. We don't actually even need this, right? The town already keeps track of this for us. I think it's fine to have. Wait a second, though. There was a problem with this a while ago. Something about beating the dragon. Hang on a sec. I gotta look at this. Completed existing content. I think these used to be static and now they're not. Yeah. So we don't need to worry about this. Oh, I think it's long enough for a demo. Yes. What I'm concerned about is that it would be too long for players to want to purchase the game. So as an example here, let's say you had any game that's 50 hours of gameplay and you release a demo that's 40 hours. Probably not a lot of people are going to buy the full game if they're like, yeah, I already experienced 80% of it. That's pretty good. So that's what I mean. I need to cap this at some point. And I think 90 minutes is a pretty good amount of time. So probably we just cap it where it is, but we probably still want to release any sort of polish features like UI improvements, all that stuff. That'll probably just improve people's perception of it. Yeah. I think we just need to limit what you can reach. So we need some like is demo flag, and it just stops you from going any further. However, there are some things where yeah, I'll just keep an eye on that in the future. I mean, in 75. It wasn't approximate. All right. So town.instances manager dot has something multiple battles on running multiple. We want this to be just like this one pretty much. Okay, hazmat conditions to close is just that you've started multiple battles. Hazmat condition to show is that you have not started multiple battles and you have at least 3 adventurers. How do we know how many adventurers you have? Something in here should probably have it. Num adventurers, where is that? Oh God, we keep track of it manually. Why? This is not smart. I guess it caches it. I don't know how I feel about that. All right, well anyway, town has a number of adventurers here, right? Get adventurers. Is this some like slow function? It's not great. Yeah, it's not great, but it's not bad. I don't want to prematurely optimize anyway. All right, count is greater than 2, I guess. Yeah. Elapsed time in seconds. I think this is fine. So what, we don't store the town? Is that the problem? Close out of everything else that we have open right now. What is that doing there? Tip does store this. Why can't I access this? Greater can't be applied to... Oh, it's enumerable? So this needs to be done through link? Hey, Rubadub. Rubadub, where have you been? Went from watching your streams to you just disappeared. Also, hey, Rami. Great question. Yes, and I'm expecting a great answer. It's called accountability. You can't just disappear. Start a new job and IRL happened. I see. Well, congrats on the job. And I hope everything's going okay. I don't know if IRL happened means that bad stuff happened, but yeah. Hope you're through the brunt of it, whatever it is. And you're liking the new job. Are you planning on returning to streaming? Oh, it just got really busy. Okay, yeah. It's like normal, fine then I'd say. What do we do here? Use this. Cannot be used in this context because the set accessor is inaccessible. What? Oh, that's not the name of the signal. Started multiple battles for the first time. And we don't care about that. And the tip is what exactly? You can start up to 3 battles at the same time. Sure. So this is multiple simultaneous battles. Doesn't this need an ID somewhere? I guess not, because I guess we're just going to do this. Multiple simultaneous battles. All right. How's this looking now? So we listen here for this. We never stop listening. I don't think we ever delete the tip though. Well, we should probably consider that. Yeah, we have some events that we don't ever unsubscribe from. What happens to these tips? I guess they just never get deleted. Show tip. And hazmat conditions to show, then show it. There must be hazmat conditions to hide, to close. That's only the current tip. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem here then. Doing some contracting work while I was doing streaming, then transition to a full-time and untangling from the contracting work was just too much. That does sound like quite a lot. Yeah. Hey, Wendy. Man, everyone's dropping in. It's nice to see you all. And we're making pretty good progress too. Okay, so yeah, let's continue looking at this then. So we initialize this. Here's the actual tip that we show. You can start up to 3 battles at the same time. And at this point, we know that you have 3 adventurers. And the way we know that is because the only way this can show is if you haven't already started multiple battles. So most people are probably never going to see this because they will have started multiple battles. And if you have at least 3 adventurers, it will close when you've started multiple battles. Oh, is there a problem here? We'll check this for the rest of the game, won't we? That's a performance issue, though. I'll just write that down for now. For tips, some tips will never meet the conditions to show, e.g. starting multiple battles, in which case we'll never mark them as seen. So we'll keep checking their conditions for the rest of the game. We should mark a tip as seen if you met the conditions for it to be closed. Make sure this makes sense for all of the tips. Should be an easy enough change to do. How's everything with you? Caught a bunch of your YouTube videos in the game. Looks great. Been hard to catch you live though. Yeah, things have been going really well. We just got into Steam's Idler Fest on Monday. It doesn't really mean a lot for us, to be honest. I feel like the impressions have already dropped off since Monday. But at least more people can see the game and they can try it out. And we're seeing some YouTube videos pop up. If you just search Skeleseller on YouTube, Now you'll see, is there a way to like, yeah, recently uploaded? Like this person, never met them in my life. They made a video, it's got almost 400 views. This unfortunately has no views, but I'll try to watch that. Here's another person who made a gameplay video. Anything else? No, that's it. So yeah, some YouTube videos are starting to pop up. That's pretty exciting. Still working on those glutes. Nothing else. 100% of my time in the gym. Just working on glutes. The goal is to sit in a chair and immediately be touching the ceiling at the same time. All right. So I think we should test this out. Let's go try it. Beginning to get busy in here. In here is in the stream, or you mean just in general? Because of the new year. Clench the chair in half. Excuse me, sir, would you like 2 chairs? Done. Okay, that means everything broke. If it says nav, 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 nav. Simultaneous battle. This means that we're not making this with a town, right? Town ready, tip system init. Line 14. Oh, we don't have the instances manager. Okay, fine. This can't happen here. It needs to happen after the instances manager. So you got a standing desk. Don't break anything in half anymore. Man. Okay, so it says hire the rogue. That's fine. We need to get all of the adventurers. So if I just click this button and then wait up to 10 seconds, we should see the tip pop up. So let's wait around. Because I have not started multiple battles. It has not popped up. I think that's a problem. Is there a bug? No. Or a thing in the log? No, there isn't. What does this mean? What does this mean? Is this even getting hit? Hazmat conditions to show. It should break in. Oh, wait. Oh, I know what's going on. I'm an idiot. We stopped the tip system from showing tips to us because we're developers. Yeah, debug disable right there. We just get rid of that. Oh, man. Love the art in this game. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I like it a lot. I can't take credit for any of it, which is why I can say I'm a fan of it. I have to chill and play some Switch or something. Bloodsport 3. I believe you have a fantastic movie to watch. Okay, that's fine. Just dismiss that and then wait. It should pop up a tip about the battles now. It might pop up a different one first, which is also fine. Oh, come on. What is happening here? I'm going to put a breakpoint there. Has started multiple battles is false, and the number of adventurers is 7. So yeah, it should show the tip. Yeah, there it is. You can start up to 3 battles at the same time. Okay, I'm not going to click to dismiss this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow the tip. So we're going to start a battle there, and I'm going to start another battle here. In fact, let's let the first one finish, and then let's go start another one. And now it should automatically dismiss that without me touching anything. Yeah, perfect. Cool. Show them the arrow. I got to recompile the game to do that and enter the tutorial because it only shows during the tutorial. All right, so that's working. Now we got to test this one more time, but this time we are going to start multiple battles before we get that many adventurers. So we're going to hire an adventurer. We're going to start, oh wait, we don't actually technically need 2 adventurers, but there we go. And then we're going to unlock all of them. And now we wait. And the tip should not show up. I was really frustrated with the climbing route today because I kept falling out on the last 4 passes. So I tried a different one. And the route I bumped my head really hard, which in turn made me bite my tongue. Today was rough. Oh man, I thought you were going to talk about a concussion or something there. Rainy, you're lucky that you only bit your tongue. I mean, obviously not as lucky as if you hadn't done any damage to yourself, but Yeah, those sorts of sports injuries can get way worse than biting your tongue. And thanks, Wendy. Want to share my personal achievement with people who get it. Been doing team lead of 3 and maintenance on PHP and Python at work for about 2 years now, and it was killing me recently. Talked with my boss, and we're moving to full-time research and development. No team lead, .NET and React. Nice. I'm guessing at the end you meant to say same pay, because yeah, I think that's good. There's nothing to concuss in there. Saw someone encounter a situation where they got a tip saying you can pick up items before they never encountered items. Poor lad was trying to drag them out of the battle window. Was this one of the videos I have here on this list? You don't necessarily have to do the legwork and tell me yes, same picture. Yeah, congrats. I wonder if it's one of these two things. We just deleted that tip though today, so it's not going to be a problem in the future. Unless they don't know how to drag items at all. Anyway, this is looking good. Yeah, top one for my list. Okay. Well, their video was the shortest of all the videos that's been uploaded, so I do wonder, do they not like the game? I'll have to wait and see. All right, so we save this, we run this here. That looks good, looks good. Change the initialization down to there, looks good. Yep. Yep, we definitely don't want to check this in, but I need this for testing. I'm just gonna write this here and here, and that way I can't possibly forget. Yeah, I think this is looking good. Okay, cool. So this fixes this issue, 491. Make battle tip go away on its own. Fixes this. There is now, oh, also we saved this. I don't think there's a reason to save this. Oh, there kind of is. But also kind of not. You might save right after getting 2 adventurers. Yeah, I think it's fine to save it. We now track whether you've started multiple battles and only show you the tip if you haven't done so yet by the time you get your 3rd adventurer. When you only have 2 adventurers, I don't think it's even important that you know that this is possible. And if you figure it out on your own, then great. But if not, it doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, check this in. Hey, comp. All right, next. Oh, I was gonna say next, but this didn't turn purple. Let's watch it turn purple. Nice. Okay, so that one's done. Next, I think we should do this one. So let's go put this back in the town. All right, so what's the deal here? Some tips will never meet the conditions to show, like starting multiple battles. All right, we need to look through all of them and make sure that's the case. So augment portal, how does this work? Condition to show, just don't show it if you've augmented the portal already. Yeah, and I think in those cases, oh man, how are we going to do that though? We need to check its hiding conditions. Yeah. Okay, this might be a little bit difficult. So we need to know that there's a tip that we can't show because it's met its conditions already. And I guess we would check that here. If it hasn't been shown. Yeah, so I think we do this. We say this else if tip dot has met conditions to close. So we haven't shown this tip, and we have no reason to. We have no reason to ever show it since the player has already met the conditions to close it. So mark that we've shown it so that we don't keep checking these conditions for the rest of the game. All right, how do we mark that we've shown a tip? Presumably it's just there. Yeah. And the AI was one step ahead of me anyway. That's it. I think that'll work. So before we had this here, if I just cut that out and then we check this. So I'm just going to say print checking condition for battle tip. So this would print out every single time for the rest of eternity, basically. And the timer was set to 10 seconds. We're going to start it at 1 second. So now it should print out every single second. I probably should have made it be like half a second so that we get immediate feedback or more immediate feedback. But yeah. Do you need to remove from tips we can show? I don't think it could be in there because of the past condition we had. Yeah, it can't be in there already for us to have hit this if statement. Okay, so this is without my fix in here. You can see we're checking 13 times, 14 times, 15. And once we hire all the adventurers, now it's not going to check anymore. That's strange. I wonder why that happened. But yeah, it stopped checking. So if we were to go to the title screen and just start multiple battles, so I do this and then this. Now when we hire a bunch of adventurers, it's going to check forever. Yeah. But with my fix, if I uncomment this line of code, it won't do that anymore. Now, in general, it was just checking a Boolean, so this was happening in constant time, but still, it's not a guarantee that that would be the case. Actually, no, it wasn't checking just a constant time thing. It was checking an O(n) thing. All right, so checking the conditions over and over and over, that's fine. Now we create an instance, and we create another instance. And now, yeah, it stopped checking. So we never saw the tip. And if I save the game right now, it should say that it showed me that tip, even though it didn't. Shown tips 461. 4 6s, multiple battles. Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right, nice. I like that. Nice little gain there. Basically constant. I mean, yeah, it would basically be constant. We don't need this here anymore. We don't want this. Okay, so stop checking for tips that have no reason to show. For tips that automatically close, we shouldn't keep checking to see if they should show, if they would only be closed immediately anyway. And then we need to make sure that this is true for every single tip that we have. So augment portal, we looked at. I don't think there was a problem there. Yep, if you've augmented the portal, we just don't show it. It's fine. Allocate adventurer skill point. Yep, if you spent a skill point, how do I feel about that one? You know that you can spend a skill point, but you haven't ever seen the tip before. Should we show it anyway when you find out you have a skill point? I think it would help. No, wait, there's this here though. Yeah, no, then we're fine. Okay. Town hall, how do we do this one? That you've built the town hall already? Yeah, definitely don't want to show that one. Hire adventurer, pretty much the same thing. You've learned that you can hire adventurers, so you're fine. Okay, multiple simultaneous battles we already looked into. Completed existing content. This doesn't even close itself. And beat first elite. This also doesn't close itself. This should probably close itself after a minute. Yeah, we should probably do that. All right. Tip about beating the first elite should probably close itself after a minute. You might have stepped away from your computer though. No, I don't know. I'm just not going to do anything about that. If I see that it's causing a problem, then we'll change it. All right, commit that. So we're done with that one. Next is this, which I think should just be working. It's just a verification thing. But there's maybe no code work to do. Potentially rough edges with the tip system as I coded it in November. For example, augment portal tip has a check whether you built a shop and stores it and has built a shop. Loading from a save file will work correctly, but if it didn't, then nothing would account for this case. Oh God, we gotta look through all the tips again. All right, so any of these booleans might not be restored properly. And augmented the portal already. What was the thing I said? You build a shop, you save the game, you load the game, you get enough money to augment the portal. I don't really think this is a big deal, but maybe it is for some of the later game tips that we give you. Let's see, what are the conditions in this case? Has augmented portal already equals true. We create this with a town, so we could just actually track this. Yeah, we could just set this stuff. Like has augmented portal already equals town.battlepaddle.instance map dot unlocked instance IDs dot count greater than 1. Yeah, that's it. So this is in case you're loading from a saved game. This actually probably won't work now that I think about it, because nothing's going to call this on load. Load from saved game. We need to tell the tip system that we've loaded. Oh, we have that. Well, well, well. Yeah, we could go through each one of these and say that we've just loaded. And then set that here. On load from save data, maybe. I don't really think it's necessary. You'll get there, Raimi. It's just 6 L's, not 7 L's. It is a command. You're just one letter off. All right, what other tips? Any others that are actually problematic here? Has spent a skill point. Where do we get this from? Where do we get this from? We don't save this at all. Yeah, I guess this is interesting. You've acquired a skill point. So what does this mean? It means that you could get a skill point, spend it immediately, save the game before this has a chance to mark that you've done that, then load the game, and then get another skill point, and it would give you the tip even though you should have already seen it. I just don't think this is an issue. I don't know if any of this stuff is an issue. And these are like weird edge cases anyway. What's this one about? This one's totally fine. What about this one? I should write some guideline on writing tips. Like read me about tips. No need to initialize member variables to their defaults. The tips are reconstructed every time. There is a need to consider the save state. For most tips, it's probably not too important whether they show or don't show. But 456 is still a problem. Could still be a problem. Anything else? Anything else? So this does not load this from, yeah. All right. I see. Yeah, I don't think it's very important. I don't care about any of this stuff. But I do think we should make a README or something about this. Maybe writing it in this would be good. No, I think putting in a README thing is fine. Why is it not finding? Is it about tooltips? Where's that markdown file? What did I call it? Oh, it's a README inside of the abilities thing. I don't know. I don't know about putting documentation next to that stuff. I think I'm just gonna make a new thing called like making tip system tips. Tip system tips. Okay. You don't need to initialize member variables to the defaults. The tips are reconstructed every time. There was an issue a long time ago with this. I wonder if I can find the commit for that. Tip system. Tips for making tip system tips. That's what we're doing. Where is it? Fix bug, probably this one. Yeah, this. This was to fix this issue. We're introducing Scrum at work, and our Scrum Masters have set up Azure DevOps for it now. And IMO it's set up in such a weird way. They made an area for each ICT department. And the projects are the teams within each department, and our epics are the projects we work on. I think I'd have to see this to judge it. In general, I think any process is implemented in order to serve some goal, either keep people on task or track things or communicate to other people. And if it's accomplishing those goals, it doesn't really matter what the process is. But if it doesn't accomplish those goals, then there's a problem, obviously. Or I guess if it accomplishes them in a bad way, maybe it costs too much money or time. But hopefully, I mean, a lot of the job of the people running these things is to make sure that the process is still serving the goals. So if it isn't, let me just say this actually. A big part of Scrum is retrospectives. And the big questions in retrospectives are what went well, what went poorly, and what could be improved. And if they're asking this stuff and people are like, hey, we don't want a mega sprint, then hopefully it'll get fixed. Yeah, the goal is political. It's usually bad. Yeah. The goal is to fire people. Okay, there is a need to consider the save state, the state of the game, whether we loaded. If we loaded from a save file. For most tips, it's probably not too important whether they show or don't show. But number 456 could still be a problem. For example, even this doesn't store whether we've started multiple battles. even the newest tip at the time of writing this document, this doesn't initialize based on the loaded state of the game. So it's possible that you have started multiple battles, but then saved before the tip could be marked as shown. Then you load and see the tip. Again, not important, but just calling it out. Yeah, I think that's it. It's always like that when changes like these happen in such a manner. I don't think it's always like that. I think there are times when, like, the whole reason process gets instated in some companies is that there are growing pains, basically. Like when you're working with one or two people, yeah, just talk to each other and agree on things. When you're working at 10 or 20, it's like, okay, maybe we have some centralized document repository project, something like that. When you're working with 100 or 200 or 2,000 people, then it's like, okay, now we need process. And I don't think that's political. And I think anytime a company gets sued is a good time to start some new process. Like, let's make sure this doesn't happen again. We're going to run this through our legal team or our whatever licensing team, a number of things. Okay, so add instructions for how to add tips. Yeah. I looked into this. There are still technically problems here, but they're not significant enough to address. Instead, I wrote this. Which contains instructions on how to update the tips, and it mentions this issue. So I'm just close this not planned. Oh, that most people don't understand them. Yeah, that's true. If anything ever doesn't make sense, it's either that the person's bad at explaining it, the person receiving it's bad at understanding it, or the actual reason is not the stated reason. All right, so that's fine. Now change the slime's hover text to be a contextual tip so that's always in screen coordinates. Maybe make the font size bigger. Maybe use a rich text label for that. Should probably do that no matter what. Let's do that first part, or sorry, let's do the last part first, which is changing this to be a rich text label. I'm gonna just make a new one. Actually, no, we can just change this. Change type to rich text. Probably give it BB code. And then that's a problem. It's gonna be a problem everywhere, isn't it? We could give it a theme override that gives it some bottom spacing. Oh God, you can't do that. And now it's broken. We want this off. Why does that cause a thing to show up there? Oh, fit content needs to be on. That's why. Yeah, so this will kind of fix it, but this is bad. We shouldn't have to do this. Enjoy the remainder of your days, everyone. Thanks, Rami. Have a good evening. Hope your tongue heals. Eat lots of ice cream. Doctor's orders. I don't even know if that helps. It'll make you feel good. So as a result of this, I committed Dr. Adam prescribes ice cream. That's right. This one. I was trying to find the commit. I just found it. I committed this, and I changed contextual tip to add line separation or something. What's it called? Line separation, yeah. Enough of this work stuff. I wonder if there are any jobs where you work on model trains all day. Trying to think about it, because you might say like making model trains, but is that a job, number one? And number two, are you actually making the trains most of the time, or are you like marketing and stuff? Kevin, I have determined that you are not a donut person. You might be a cookie person, and then you just got bad ones. Viral bakery, though. Huh. What if it was a bad batch? Are you going to try it again at some point? Hey, Ski. For sure, railway museums that have model trains. Scale train. Huh. So now M2, the question is, how do you work your way over to that field? Okay, so we change this to a rich text label, and we shouldn't have to do anything else because it's got the same dot text as a label has. So let's just make sure that it looks good. And then we can work on the slime bit. So all we have to do is pick up an item and hold it for 5 seconds. And then it should pop up a little tooltip thing. Yeah. Okay, that broke. Set through code. Oh, because we think it's a label and it's a rich text label. Yeah, I forgot to update that. Contextual tip. Rich text label. Rick text. Wordy text label. Thought about this in the past. I don't think the pay would be even closer than that now. It probably wouldn't be. And actually, your happiness might not be like way more than it currently is. It's not like you can't work on model trains. It's that you don't get to do it for every single hour of your job. And I look at this even just from game development to like big corporation, non-game development, but I think it was a major leap in happiness for me. And I think most days are better as a result. But yeah, pay is very different. It's crumble cookies. Oh, it's not some local thing. Okay, yeah. Just didn't know what the hype and price. I like them. I think they're pretty good. I especially like when I get them for free. Go to some event or party or something and someone's serving them. That's what I mean. Because they're pricey, aren't they? Long way away if it ever happens. Still, I think it's something to work toward. I even like that idea for Skeleseller of just kind of working on this for a while. I really like what the developers of Terraria did. They released 6 final updates and they're releasing their 7th soon enough. And they just keep calling them all final updates because for any other game, it'd be reasonable that they'd be the final update and everyone would be happy. But they just keep doing new, cool stuff. They're not charging more for it. I think it'd be neat to be in that position. But Terraria has made such a ludicrous amount of money that they can just do this the rest of their lives if they wanted to. I think for an unproven game to just keep polishing it and then you finally release it and like did the polish pay off? And for some games it probably does, and for other games it wouldn't. So it's hard to say ahead of time. And you only really get kind of one attempt at that. 6 cookies came to $23. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah. All right, I don't know if I restarted this, so let's just pick up an item and see. Oh, it's a timer, so I can just click this button and it'll go faster. Yeah, nice. Right click to drop. Okay, cool. So that was the first task. We're going to check that in on its own. Change contextual tip label to rich text. This is just in case we ever need it to be this way in the future. I think I'm planning a commit where I think it might help. Yeah, code looks good. Except for what's that? Auto wrap mode. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that part's done. So now we have to change the hover text to be a contextual tip so it's always in screen coordinates. All right, let's go do that. So right now we're doing this from player held item. We have a contextual tip, and this thing takes in a canvas layer for where to render this. This slime would need to take in a canvas layer too. Where do we do this? I don't think we make the recycler by default, so I don't think we can set this through the editor. But we could pass in the UI layer when we make it. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Okay, so let's do that. Recycler. That's the story of Stardew Valley. No, wasn't a developer for 4 years. Approaching indie game dev like this usually does not pay off. Yes, so I'm not saying games like that haven't happened. And if you could make, let's say, 100 games, I would definitely try different methods of doing that, right? But if you can make a game every year and you plan on having a 20-year-long career, then you can make 20 games. And it's just, what are the odds you actually can make a game in, once per year for 20 years? And what's the success level you get from doing that? So what I'd like is to produce something that sells well enough that I can either keep working on it, or I could at least be like, well, that thing's still selling, so I can go spend whatever amount of time I want. Because I will say, and I almost don't want to voice these words, it's very tempting to just dunk another like year into Skeleseller. And the reason I'm hesitant to say this is because I'm still unconvinced whether it's just that I want to do that or because it's needed. And I cannot actually tell what state we're in right now. Obviously, we're not ready to launch the game, so some amount of time is needed, but I would like to polish a lot of this. I would like to make it even better, but that's really just kind of not the right business way to approach this. It's like make a product that is good and then improve it if people like it, but otherwise move on to the next thing. Games. Yeah. All right, so we want this to be in the recycler. This is not needed to be public. Private canvas layer. It also does need to be set, and it needs to look like that. When we initialize this, something broke. Early access is the way to accomplish that. Make it good enough to be played, then improve over time if it goes good enough in your eyes. Yeah, I guess there are still some runaway hits that are in early access. I guess the question is, if it's not successful in early access, what do you do? Because most people just abandon the game at that point. Actually, Valve just changed something in the last week where if you go to some game that's in early access, so if we just type in Steam early access. Oh, hey, here we go. Yeah, Steam adds warning flagging potentially abandoned early access games. So it'll say something like this: the last update was made over, apparently it triggers after 12 months. So like the last update was made over 14 months ago. The information and timeline described may no longer be up to date. Because there are a lot of games where you're like, oh, this sounds cool. This looks pretty cool. Reviews are decent. And then you find out, oh, it hasn't been developed for like 5 years. And if you have fun playing the game that's 5 years old and never gets another update, then you have fun. It doesn't necessarily matter. But if you think, I don't know, it's a multiplayer game and you're like, there's going to be a community here, and then there isn't, then that'll probably hamper your fun. I think you still spend some amount of time on it after EA release, but not as long as you might have if it went amazing. Yeah, I think so too. But eventually it just kind of fizzles out and it becomes another reason for gamers to not like early access. Okay, so this equals town dot. Can we get the UI layer? We can. Oh, well, look at that. In fact, we could just add it there to begin with. You know, if we're gonna save this anyway, I think it's fine to do that. This comes from NPC. Yeah, I think it's fine to do that. Or just rename this to Canvas Layer for contextual tip. Do we even need that after we've already made this? I guess because every time we construct, we don't construct this. We just make this once here. Or sorry, we don't construct this every time. We construct it once and then we reuse it. Yeah, so I'll just do the same thing here then. Gamers ruining everything, I know. That's the problem. So this can be done after a knit. I'll put this here. Town.ui layer. I guess we should give this a name. Yeah, we need to save this off, but not a canvas layer. It'll just be a contextual tip now. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? Name equals recycler contextual tip. We should do the same thing in here. Player held item contextual tip. If it goes well, then after EA, you try to release some sort of roadmap. If it goes poorly, you still do a roadmap, just not as big, and make it clear that 1.0 is probably the end of development. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, they're kind of two major considerations here: protecting yourself and your investment, and protecting players and their expectations. And you pick somewhere along that spectrum. You're probably not going to maximize both. So, yeah, doesn't make sense to fling a bunch of resources at something just because people think, oh, there should be a 1.0 launch. The one counterpoint what I'm running into is for a single player game that's narrative driven and linear, EA might kill the experience since it's a lot less replayable. I think one of the things I always kind of considered with Botland is like, think of what it would take for it to be successful. Like, what would need to be true? And as an example, since it was a multiplayer game, it was like, it would, maybe I phrased this poorly, but it would need to scale. If, let's say, Botland could have run on like a mini PC, then it would not be a successful game because that wouldn't be able to sustain as many players as would be needed to justify the development cost. So for something like this, where you're saying, okay, I'm making a narrative driven game, how many players would you need for it to be successful? And it's probably just like any other game. It's probably like more than 10,000 players. So let's say a handful of them play during early access, maybe 1,000 even, which I'd say would be pretty good. You'd still need so many more players that it probably wouldn't hurt your chances of success if the game is good and would have been successful eventually anyway. Although there's no proving that. Well, that's my hunch at least. Isn't how much new content happens during EA. Yeah. Quick out of topic question. Will you continue your mentoring program? If yes, will there be private mentoring sessions option? I will probably continue it in March. And I don't know about the private ones, but I'll write down that you even asked about this. And I'll follow up probably in March, like I said. More like, how polished does your story need to be successful relative to gameplay, and would any of them play at launch too? Oh wow, okay. I'll write it down. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Sarah. I think this is why, if you're making a roguelike game that you just have kind of a benefit built in, the entire game is pretty much baked around you replaying it a bunch of times. So now if you do add in like 5 more items to your game, people are like, well, I already replayed it a bunch anyway. So yeah, sure, I'll replay it another 10% of the amount of time I played. Yeah. Group coaching sessions. I mean, I did the group mentoring a while ago. I did like those sessions. Okay, so I'm just gonna just type some text here, replace this. Hopefully that works. What else do we need here? We need some way of showing it and hiding it. Oh, and then positioning it, I guess, every time you are hovering over this. This only needs to be positioned right beneath the slime. So how do we do that? No, but it's in screen coordinates. So we do need to call this every frame. But only if this is showing. Yeah. All right, how about this? Let's position it then. We don't even have a process here, do we? How do we update the tooltip then? Oh, when the hunger changes. I think we're gonna need a process for this. Well, I'll try some things out and we'll see what feels good. It said process and I pressed tab and it did something else because I had a different menu open. All right, this will position it beneath the mouse. Why is this highlighted? Float. Because you're just making stuff up. Anything else? Just showing this, I guess. When you're holding an item, where do we show that? Held item is null. Interesting. And somewhere we set the opacity. Here it is, guidance label. All the guidance label stuff is just going to be changed. So guidance label as show. I guess here we'll do show. I want to fade these in, I think. And let's delete that thing. And then on stop holding, we hide this. Any others? Self-modulate. We could set this. This might be a little bit weird. Self-modulate. Sure. Set the text. I don't care. And the final thing is in process to only do this if you're actually holding an item. So it's going to put it in the wrong spot. It'll put it under the mouse. I actually want it to be under the slime, but this is just for testing. And I hope this is a great change because I do not like the camera coordinate stuff that we have right now for this. Let's take a look. So let's get the slime. Now we try dragging an item. And it shows the cost underneath the item. And it is in screen coordinates. And that's super messed up, whatever just happened right there. Why is there no background rendering for that first one? I'm very confused by that. The contextual tip itself has that panel, but it's not showing for this. Set text doesn't even need to be done here. Add to the correct spot, show or hide, set the self-modulate. Oh, it should be the modulate, not the self-modulate. And the distance is the distance to the slime. Strange. The tooltip should pin to the, oh yeah. The tooltip pinning to the item right now is just me having tested something. Is this our last camera coordinate stuff? I can't think of anything else in the game that takes place in camera coordinates anymore. I think this might be the last of it. I need a save file that has the slime there. Actually, we should save with items on the ground. Okay, that's pretty much exactly what I want. But now, yeah. Okay, cool. So let's position it under the slime and then let's make it so that you can see it from farther away, I think. So contextual tip dot position. So this is positioned beneath mouse. We pretty much just want to take this and set it to the slime's position, which we did. Wait, how are we going to do this? It's however the tooltip works. No, it's not however the tooltip works. I'm not really sure. Let's just try some things. Yeah, we want this to be above the slime, probably. Let's just not worry about the specific y coordinate yet. My guess is this is not going to work. We got to figure out what this is supposed to be, and I'm not totally sure what it's supposed to be. We need to find its offset from. We need to find its position in screen coordinates, which probably just means subtracting the camera coordinates. Yeah, it's over there now. It's always going to be at the left side of the screen. Yeah. Awesome idea to make every game multiplayer game and game can have content the rest of your life. What? Game can have content for the rest of your life. I mean, I guess it could if you're working on it, but very few multiplayer games just sort of exist for a very long time without updates. Yeah. And I know there are ones that exist with minimal updates. Like, I think TF2 is probably still doing pretty well. Actually, I don't know what they're doing as far as content updates. Are they updating that game? Does TF2 get updates? Oh. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, the game can then have players for the rest of your life, and players make differences in game and move items. What? Okay, let me just ask something really fast. Are you a game developer? I think this is a spicy take. I don't think I agree with this, but I'm not sure whether this is something you're saying out of expertise or something out of speculation. And it's fine either way. I'm not saying don't share an opinion. I just it's a very interesting way of thinking about things. I think all pieces of media need maintenance or will die. And that goes for even like the best of the classic stories or movies, games especially. I'm game pro creator. Okay. Have you made a multiplayer game? Like, do you feel like you could just keep it running for good with a player base? Because if you're speaking from experience, that would definitely it would hint how I respond to you, but it wouldn't change my opinion, I think, because I do think the multiplayer games especially need a lot of maintenance to stay relevant. Okay, so this needs to be changed to something. I'm gonna just change this position. I'm gonna see what happens here. I think the position is relative to the upper left of where it is in the world. Yeah, and this is still going to show in the same spot. This basically didn't change anything. I think we just need to actually, yeah, I want to figure out where this is in terms of where the camera is. I know what makes games interesting and fun and what elements sell it. I want to make WoW impact to players. Yeah, I I, I don't know. I think that deviates a little bit from the sort of original statement there of like essentially multiplayer games don't need maintenance. And maybe I'm reducing the argument here, but I at least disagree with that point. Okay, so we need to subtract the town's camera's position, I think. Or maybe add it. I'm going to try this. We're just going to keep testing stuff until we figure something out here. I think we'll need to take zoom into account as well. All right, what are we looking at here? Is this at least moving? Yes, it is. I know this is super broken. I don't know if we're going in the right direction here. I basically need to get this UI thing to be positioned where the slime is. I think what we could do, I would have expected us to just be able to set the position of this thing to where the slime is in the world. And I can't do that for some reason. Why am I looking at Stardew Valley ripoff? I think when you say ripoff, you're probably talking about graphics. I was gonna say the gameplay is incredibly different from Stardew Valley. And the graphics come from an asset pack originally called Super Retro World, which I think was more inspired by Pokemon than Stardew Valley. But they might actually have cited Stardew Valley on here. Actually, where did I even read that thing about Pokemon? I could have sworn I read something from this person. Huh. I don't know where I read that. Maybe it was on their Twitter or something like that. Yeah, a lot of people compare this to Stardew Valley. I think it's colorful. It's, somewhat simplistic pixel art compared to the super hyper realistic stuff that you see that's still pixel art. So, yeah, I think it's gonna evoke memories of Stardew Valley for people. I've seen games fake die, and I've seen possibilities of game always having growth in its content that makes games able to sell for the rest of your life. Multiplayer element makes games always feel alive. Okay, so I can agree that if there are other players, it can make the game feel more alive. But I think in order to keep those players, you can't just sort of leave the game on its own. You need to be developing updates for it. And developing updates for it costs money, which means that now you have an equation of are you getting more than you're getting more out of it than you're putting into it. So I am still messing this up. um, when we tried setting the position of this tip to, how about we print some of these things out? When we tried setting it to the slime's position, it just stayed at the same place on screen at all times. Something needs to be changed based on where the camera is. Let's take a look at that stuff. Camera position, slime position, slime global position. I want to see what these things are. Shouldn't you be able to do what the tooltip does here? So I was doing what the tooltip originally had when I first tried this because I had pretty much just copied. The tooltip is based on where the mouse is. And getting the mouse coordinate. Yeah, this is based on the mouse position. And this isn't necessarily based on the mouse position. But anyway, this is what I'm trying to figure out as I do this because I'm clearly messing everything up. So camera position, slime position. So the slime position and the slime global position will never move, which is why I can't just consider them. Interesting. This can't go off the screen. Yeah, so we need to consider what the camera position is. So here, for example, we'd want to render this thing at like 0. Oh, we got to take the zoom into account as well, right? In fact, we only need to take the zoom into account. Is that hot reloading you developed or is it in the engine? Yeah, there is no hot reloading. Well, C# does have some, but wait a second, was that a tip that just showed up? Shouldn't those not be showing up? The hot reloading doesn't really work for us. Debug disable. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there are tips showing up. Why is this showing up? You have enough money to build a town hall. Click the button to do so. We stopped this timer. Does something start this again? Oh, maybe loading from a game save starts it? Oh my God, seriously? I never even thought of that. Yeah, it does. And then we need to call debug disable again. It's always in skip tutorial. So this should be done regardless of how we got here. Yeah, this is only called in start game. We need to do this everywhere. Game started or loaded. All right, so if os.has feature debug, then disable tip system, that'll fix that for us. But that's a different problem. We still need to figure out the original problem. So yeah, the slime stays in the same spot every single time. We can write this stuff down here. I don't think it's super important. The camera position is going to change. We need to take the zoom into account. But at any given time, we can figure out what the camera is looking at, I guess. Can we get the position of something relative to the camera? Get target position. Well, what does that take in? What takes in nothing? Turns this camera's target position. I'm guessing that means the center. Is there any other thing here? Get screen center position. Let me just look this up. Get position of something relative to camera. It should just be subtracting the camera's coordinates though, but then we need to take the zoom into account. Yeah, just subtract the global. Oh, global position does take that into account, and I was printing out the regular position. Oh my god. Okay, we're getting there. Global position minus the town's camera's global position. All right, and then print out the global position. And these are the same, so it doesn't really matter. In fact, we could just print this out here. Slime position and global position are the same. 178, 282. Oh, I had that printed right there. Yeah. But now delete all that. And try it out. Issues people report with pixelated and blurry font and labels, for example. Isn't that basically the problem of our project settings? Stretch mode, to be specific, we use disabled instead of viewport. Wait, are people reporting pixelated fonts? Because I think what they were talking about was all the stuff that was in camera coordinates. And I think that by scaling everything up, this goes back to something we were talking about in like summer of last year, I think, which is if we were to change our stretch mode, then we're gonna lose the ability to scale the window, I think. Really, I don't fully remember though. But yeah, I'd be curious what you're talking about when you say the whole people are reporting blurry fonts. Okay. I mean it's moving somewhere, and it looks like it's just off by a lot. No, it's changing its ratio of how far away this thing is. At least I think it is. Yeah, if it were always the same distance from this, then I need to do something else, but something's going wrong here. Item displays with a very ugly looking font on item prices. Yeah, that was because it was in camera coordinates. That would have always been a problem. What's for dinner? I don't know yet. That's not a portal. Yeah, well the item slime was always here. It's what you it's how you can like sell items basically without having to wait for a customer. I don't know how I'm getting this as wrong as I'm getting this though. So what aren't we doing? I guess we were printing the camera's global position the whole time. I should probably just take a look at that for a bit. Find out. And I guess what do we want to do? Maybe I should just think about it from that perspective. We want this to be positioned underneath the slime. That's based on where the camera's looking. We want it in screen coordinates. So at some point we need to like undo the camera's zoom. So camera position, let's put it at the very bottom of the screen. 300, 110. Now let me put it at the top of the screen. 15. No, this is not what I'm expecting. The camera is centered, so that's the position that we're seeing. Man, I don't know. Camera position is whatever you see in the middle of the screen. Yeah. So this should be pretty much where the slime is positioned, right? 178, 282. Yeah. So if I exactly set this up, 178. Oh, I guess that's what we could use. 178 and 282. Good enough. Yeah, so that's like the center of the slime. And what we're doing is we're ending up positioning this here. So what we need to do is we need to figure out this distance, which should always be the half of the camera size. Oh, yeah. There's probably more to it than that, but town.camera.size. There's no size. What is it? Rectangle? I don't know how to see. Godot get rectangle. I know I typed that wrong. It's viewport rect. Get viewport rect. This is gonna add, yeah. For whatever reason, streaming this specific kind of problem almost never goes well. Like other problems I can work through, these I just get stuck for a while. All right, is this, it's not in the same spot every time. It's closer. Okay, that's looking good. It's just not considering the zoom right now. Yeah. Because this is fine no matter what. Then we zoom in and then it becomes a problem. Oh, also contextual tips are taking mouse input. I gotta not have it do that. Make contextual tip stop taking mouse input. Can't scroll on them or click through them. Yeah, it didn't account for zoom yet. I think that's the only problem. Right? Because when fully zoomed out, it's always working. I guess we could do this. Zoom into 3x over there. Yeah. So I accidentally fed it. Yeah, it's always looking good when fully zoomed out. So it's just when we're not fully zoomed out that we're off by some amount. Should only need to account for that in the subtraction between position and the camera. Yeah, the problem is how do we do that? No, I don't think we need to do it between the subtraction point, do we? I guess it wouldn't be changing the size of that. And the size should probably change based on the camera. Size should change based on the zoom anyway. I love whatever autocomplete is trying to get to have happen there. All right, what is this showing? Camera size is not changing. Oh. But how did it change between those two things then? Oh, because I made the window smaller. Okay, I see. So yes, the camera size is not taking the zoom into account. So we need to do what? Here we are, let's put it at the upper left and then zoom out all the way. It's showing the right spot. And then when we zoom in, it shows too far down. Very weird how this is even working. I think we multiply by the zoom. I don't know. Let's try that. I mean, if this is wrong, I'm going to try dividing by it. And then if it's still wrong, I'm going to pull a bunch of hair out. And then feed the hair into the USB slot. Say, look what you made me do, computer. That's what your AI got me. Okay, it's wrong. So now we're on step 2, which is dividing. And then we give up. Honestly, it might sound like a joke, but I think for real, that's the answer. Then we give up. Like, we just approach this problem later. Because I do eventually figure this stuff out. It just takes me some time. Hey, kind of all right. The language is C#, and there is a language command. There you go. Yeah. Hey, Relio, and hey, Space Cadet. All right, how we looking here? It's still in the wrong spot. What is going on exactly? Here, it's just... No, there's some like ratio thing happening because it's getting closer and closer to the slime. So I am messing something else up. I ran into this problem a while ago, and I don't know how I fixed it. You account for zoom in 2 of them, but are only accounting in 1 of them. Yeah, I I think that's the case. I don't know where we want to do this differently. We've probably gotten rid of a lot of these things that I did. Because I could have sworn I had code for this a while ago. I don't know where I would have put it either. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, let's keep the way that like kind of sort of works, which is this. Actually, no, I want to push a new build at some point. No. All right, maybe I'll take a break really fast. Long time ago, showing your stream. Oh, it's been a long time since you've been here. How's the project going? It's going really well. We are in Idler Fest now on Steam, so there are more people seeing the game, and there's been a lot of little changes that make it a lot better. So something like when you first go into a battle, there's now this background here that I think looks nice. Sorry, I know that was pretty fast. Let me make that slower. There. So yeah, this nice little background that we have here. We have a battle map that's showing up so that you can actually pick where you're going to go. You can see icons of which items you've gotten in the past. We've got new building graphics for some things. So the tavern now has like a proper tavern sprite. And yeah, there's just, I don't know, there's a lot of cool stuff. Time to pull hair out. You know it. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to take a quick break and then we'll try to think about this a little bit more. And I've got Kevin's thing here, which I'll have to take a look at afterward. Is it jump time? It's jump time. All right, for those who've never seen this, on my breaks, you can type join in Twitch chat and then jump with J and a number. And have fun, try to make it to the top. I will be back in about 2-3 minutes. Try again, everybody. Close the game. All right, let's take a look at what Kevin and LinkedIn. Oh, hey, rendering in camera space. Okay. Show in camera space. What was this for? A tooltip. So then position tooltip in camera space. We'd get the mouse local position. Get the camera. Multiply by the canvas transform. Applies the zoom again, which is why we need to take zoom into account twice for the tooltip as well. Oh my goodness, this is nuts. Yeah, this is nuts. Quite annoying. Oh man. Sorry, that Campbell. And then clamp the camera. This is an alias for clamp to screen. Okay, so this is what we want, I guess. I'm gonna paste this in and we're gonna try to get this to work. But yeah, I remember this being incredibly difficult to figure out the first time around. So we had the mouse position and we wanted a tooltip to be based on that position. So this is now the tooltip position. And anywhere that we have tooltip position, that's what we want to use, I guess. And then we get the camera rectangle, get the camera zoom, global position equals screen position or not clamp to camera. So assuming we ignore this, our position is really just going to be the global position times the zoom. And that's going to be the tooltip global position. So we're going to do the same general thing here. We're going to set this, but the mouse position was in local, what is it? Local coordinate system. All right, I'm not totally sure, but we're just going to try something. So let's see. Contextual tip dot position equals the slime's position, which is just that. Then get the camera stuff. And then set the global position to this. I don't know. This just seems wrong. This shouldn't matter that we're even doing this here. But we can comment that out too. Okay, so it looks like it's always in the same spot on the screen. Oh, now it does not look like it's in the same spot on the screen everywhere. No, maybe it is. This is very difficult. Get canvas transform applies the zoom again. You take into account twice. Huh. The position of a tooltip. Yeah, I'm not sure here. Man. Yeah, I don't know about this. I should probably move on. Returns a transform from the coordinate system of the canvas this item is in to the viewport coordinate system. I know we're not using this anyway, which means, which, well, suggests that we shouldn't be doing this either. Because that was only for clamping, which we don't need to clamp. Which means I probably wasn't too far off in whatever I was doing, right? We were using the global position of this thing, but they're both the same, so that wouldn't even make a difference. Oh, wait a second. What's that? That seems important. Get the parent and then get the mouse position according to that. Control. Tooltip was stored inside the UI layer. Okay, that's, sorry, I did not see that. That is very different. And that's what we would do for that? That's of the tooltip? Yeah, it's a parent of the tooltip, which would be the UI thing. My God, this is just so confusing. Okay, I don't know. I do think giving up is the right idea here. And I should just take a look at this again later. Man, it's too bad. All right, well, let's check in the things that are definitely worthwhile to do. Name the contextual tip that we have. I'm eventually going to add another one, at which point it would be nice to be able to tell which is which through code. And then this we changed. Disable tip system for devs after loading. It used to be that this was only disabled when starting a new game, not when loading a saved game. No, it's fine. Like I said, these are tough problems, but I also think they're just especially tough when I'm streaming, and I don't know why. I've worked through other tough problems while streaming, but like never this kind. Whenever there are two coordinate systems involved, I'm just like, well, time to shut my brain down. So yeah, I don't exactly know what to do. And I'll think about this again later, and we'll probably come to something here. Yeah. Hey, Liquidor, how you doing? Saw you were streaming some WoW, although that was probably a while ago now, and I'm just remembering it. Get stash. There's a way to write a message for this. Yeah, something like that. Get stash push recycler contextual tip. Get stash list. Okay, so this is stashed as recycler contextual tip. Make it stop taking mouse input. That's pretty easy to do. Mouse, ignore. Mouse, ignore. Okay, so now that shouldn't be a problem. Although I guess there's no real way to test that now that we got rid of the slime. Having trouble? Yeah, yeah. I was trying to position something on top of another entity, and it's just very, very hard to do that. Well, let me put it this way. I was trying to position something in screen coordinates to where it is in the camera. So like in the world, this thing has a static position. Let's say it's 5, 5. If I move the camera here, it's still 5, 5. Relative to the camera, it's different. Because sometimes it's in the center of the screen, sometimes it isn't. But anyway, none of what I'm doing matters. All I need to do is this. And then I need to try scrolling. There's no way to get that on the cursor, is there? No. If I do this though, does it? No, I can't get that to. All right, well, we're gonna assume it's fixed. Stop contextual tip from stealing mouse input. Okay, the other big things I'd wanted to work on are here. One is getting the explorer to control difficulty instead of just giving hints. Another is to work on UI scale. I'm curious how this would look, so I'm going to look into this for a little bit. But we might not get very far. And actually, I've been streaming for a decent amount of time today. Yeah, we're beyond the 6 hour mark. Okay, so Godot UI scale. I think there's a way to do this. I didn't actually write it down. Multiple resolutions. Remember correctly, control nodes have a scale parameter. I love seeing this stuff. 4 years ago. No, that's not my problem. 5 months ago. Did you ever figure out your problem? Tell me what you saw, Denver Coder. Do they talk about scale stuff? Content scale size. Isn't that what we're using for the game scale? To get world to screen position, I'd say it should be target at position minus camera position. It probably makes sense. I'm not going to try to make sense of it right now. I'll just paste it into here. Yeah, content scale size. So are we using that? Content scale size. Content scale factor we're using. Is that different? Set content scale factor. Where's that done? Here, yeah. Is there a content scale size? No. I think that's what they're talking about here. What is this? Base size of the content. Nodes that are drawn inside the window. How is this different from content scale factor? Yeah, there are two of these. What is this? And what happens if I just set this to a higher number? All right, let's try this inside of town and just see what happens. Man, imagine if this just magically worked. Page up. All right, what is this? Get tree.root.content scale size equals 2. Can't convert to a vector 2i. Is this a multiplier? What even is this? I think it's a size. Base size of the content, nodes that are drawn inside the window. So what if we made this 1920 1080? Actually, let's divide both of these by 2. I have no idea what this is going to do. So we're in for this together. Because I don't know what this property is. So we're looking at the game normally, and I press page up, and I saw nothing change. Excuse me. If I set this to 1x, does it do anything? No. Okay, what if I set it to larger? What if instead of divided by 2, we did times 4? I don't think this is going to have any effect. I think we need to set a scale mode or something. Yeah, it's not doing anything. We should probably print out that it's even trying to do something though. Page up pressed. Because there's another thing, this content scale stretch policy to use to determine the final scale factor for 2D elements. This affects how scale factor is applied in addition to the automatic scale factor determined by content scale size. Oh, if I only knew what in the world we're talking about here. All right, well, I don't know if there's a way to do this, but let's just keep looking. Godot UI scale. Like slider or something like that. UI screen size and resizing UI. Because I don't know if this person felt like they got their answer, but the issue I would have here is like, this is just tiny text now. It's like, yeah, I can make a UI that resizes, but I want it to get bigger at some point, and then it needs to use larger text sizes. And maybe that kind of is the problem, that we're expanding the viewport. Is available in 4.2 beta. What? Add content scale stretch modes. What are we doing? There's too much going on here. Is that relevant? I don't know. I'd probably need to run this to see. Because the thing is, they have a Windows scale factor, which I also have, and it does increase the size of the UI. Like you can see the text is tiny, and then I click this button and it gets larger, and then I click this button and it gets larger. The problem is it's scaling up everything in the game. So now when you start a battle, the battle window is taking up like half the screen. So all I want is for text to get larger. But I guess if we did that, we wouldn't actually have space for all of the elements. Maybe that's not actually what I want. Yeah, I never really thought about that. Yeah. Like if we just tripled the font size here, then everything would blow up. All right. No, I'm glad I thought about this for a little bit longer. So what would we do here? And what effect do we even want to achieve? You can already zoom in on the game. I think it's just, yeah, adding an explicit UI scale. It's not really the window you want to scale, but elements. Are they also called windows? Well, so, okay, what I'm thinking is we could probably put something in that just controls the scale of like this menu, for example. And in fact, I think I didn't mean to click Discord, so I've got to change something. Hang on a second. All right, I think that they're all blue icons. Actually, if you look at this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue icons. OBS kind of counts, and Chrome has a blue dot in the middle. So if we go to the town menu and I were to just scale up this entire thing, there is no scale factor you can set. Oh, there it is. 2, 2. Yeah, it looks great. It doesn't look like it's not like a blurry scale. So if I set it to 10 by 10, it still looks fine. And there's nothing saying we can't just set that scale on this node. Like you have a slider, and when you do that, it just sets this exact property that I literally just clicked here. That would probably be fine, and that would work. And I think that's maybe what we want to do. The more I think about this, the more I think that we can't just have a global UI scale setting. Or at least if we did, it would cause a bunch of text to no longer fit. For example, imagine setting a UI scale to 200%. The battle window would need to be twice the height to accommodate the extra space, the extra size. Just need a list of elements you want to set that property on. Global GUI scale. Well, okay, so hold on. That was the first bit. The second bit, though, is that what if people don't want a uniform size increase? Like, what if this menu should get to 2x, but like these things should only get to 1.5x? So basically, we have like a small, medium, and large option or something like that. And medium isn't just 2x across the board. It's sometimes a little less and it's sometimes a little more. I don't think people think in terms of that. I guess they should all just be ratios anyway, and there should be a slider, and you should just figure out where it looks good for you. So I think that's kind of what I think that's what I'm leaning toward. I think we need a slider for UI scale, but then we need to internally figure out what ratio of that number to apply to each menu. E.g., maybe the town menu should be 90% of the scale, whereas the skill button should be 120% or something. I don't know. If we 1.5x scale UI, the sprites inside that UI may look weird, right? What do you mean? Do you mean like skill trees? Or like the characters here? Yeah, those could look weird. But I think that's something that we'd have to just allow. Like if you do 1.5x, then some pixels will get doubled. Yeah. If we have any sort of fractional multiplier, e.g. 0.5x or 1.5x, then pixels could get omitted or doubled, e.g. adventurers in the skill tree. They're doubled. Adventurers in the skill tree. Oh man. Let me think about this though. Okay. I think it's worth trying. Where do I want to do this? I think I just want to put this in the town. Yeah, you press page up and it does something, and you press page down and it does something. And then we want to change a scale somewhere. I'm just gonna hack this together for right now. I don't really care if this looks good yet. So public float UI scale is set to 1 to begin with. And then when you press page up, the UI scale can be, we can add a little bit to it. And here we can subtract a little bit. Public void set UI scale. Float scale, sure. All right, so set UI scale to that, set this one to that. And then whenever you change it, update everything else. So like the town menu, for example, there's a scale in here somewhere, transform. How do we get that? Oh, it thinks it's a node. Actually control. Probably should just change that. Let's close this thing. Town menu, control. Okay, so now it's a control. We should get the transform and the scale in there. Oh, no, it's using the type. We don't have something called town menu. Where's the town menu? It's called menu. Oh, excuse me. Set UI scale. Where did this stuff even go? Oh, I made a change here. Okay, yeah. So scale equals UI scale. Cannot convert float to vector. Vector 2. Okay, let's try that out. Really like to avoid fractional scaling on graphics. Yeah, but I think if you're modifying the UI scale, then you're going to have some fractional scaling. I think getting things to be exactly 1x or 2x or 3x is just it's it's too large of an increment for a lot of people. Okay, so you can see this thing working here. And yeah, the text still looks crisp, it's readable. I don't know why I'm still pressing the button. All right, now let's I don't know what percentage we're at because we're not printing it. Yeah, so I think this is probably something like what we want to do here. Keep going. Just make the money thing take up the whole screen. Probably should have made it so I could just hold the key down. Or just actually coded a slider. I would like the battle map, please. All right, yeah. I think this is probably what we want to do. Not this specific thing that I have on the screen, but this technique. I think the technique is sound. So how about we pick some values and test it? Maybe we'll just say like bool increase. If increase, I'll just pick what the UI scales are. We'll say float scales equals um yeah, something like that. 2.5f. And we'll get index equals this actually won't work. We have to do something like this because it's floating point numbers. Scales dot length. Yeah. If this is less than some small number, then set the index. And then if increase index plus plus, otherwise index minus minus. And then set the new scale to this should be scales index. Okay. What is the problem now? I think that's good. So it starts at 1. This will let you kind of get lower than this. I think we should just clamp this here. Math dot max of 0 index minus 1 and the math dot min of scales dot length minus 1 and index plus 1. Okay, then we don't need to clamp this here anymore. We just use the index. And then this should just say true, and this should say false. Okay, let's try that. Very accessible. I want a 90-inch TV with the amount of money that I have at any time in Skeleseller and nothing else. Okay, so this is the set of UI scales that we just made. Something a little odd happened there where it seemed to jump back up. Oh, yeah, I think this is fine. All right, so we would do this for practically everything. So same thing, this menu would also need to change. For anything with just buttons though, yeah, having a scale that could be any fraction, I think is totally fine. Where do we even get that? What, in-game menu? Yeah, we pretty much just set this everywhere. Then what, do we have the game settings menu? Code just writing itself. And then we're going to run into some problems. Let's try those 3 at least. Should probably print out what the scale currently is. Yeah, I don't think we need this. All right, wait for this thing to steal the focus a bunch of times. Current UI scale. All right, so we zoom in a couple times. Now this is off the screen. That probably means it's not anchored correctly. It might not mean that. What is it even called? Yeah, in-game menu. This is set to take up the full rectangle. And then this is set to take up just the starting bit. So no, maybe this is fine. And maybe all we need to do is change this. This doesn't even have a scale though, does it? Oh, it does. It doesn't really work. Yeah, weirdly enough, this is now taking up more than the max. I guess because of just trying to scale this. We need to scale the panel container inside the scroll, I think. I mean, I guess, oh, I can't scale that one. Why is this red? I don't think I've seen that before. A lot of these things are red. What did it say? There was something that popped up that said something about this can only be... Oh, anyway, it's probably because it's in a container. I haven't seen that though. So can I set the scale on any of this stuff? I guess only the things that aren't in a container, which seems strange to me. Huh. Do set scale of something in a container. It should only control the size and the position. You should be able to change the scale, right? Control that contains content. So basically don't have it be in a container. Because yeah, if I just change this to 2, it's going to go way off the screen and not be centered anymore. Can you get it to center based on the scaled value? I guess you can't. I can't even undo this now. I mean, I guess worst case scenario. No, we can't change those. It looks centered, including the controls. Uh, Wait a sec. Yeah, what? No. Hang on. Something weird is happening. First of all, what even controls this? This is inside of here. Yeah, so it's anchored differently. So that part shouldn't come into effect. I think it's just that like, we should just ignore this entire thing. And I think if we increase this, we'll see. Yeah, it's just not moving this. This thing is positioned based on what the original size was. And even trying to center this again doesn't do anything different. Very interesting. I wonder if there's a way to stop that. Doesn't update correctly. Okay, yeah. I guess I kept thinking we tried it in game already, but we tried by modifying the in-game menu. We need to try by modifying its scroll container centered on screen. Get node control Hopefully I didn't save that scene. Man, this would be a big win for the game. We'd probably have a lot of little things to tweak based on this too. No, I think it's still going off the right. Yeah, like it's centered over this now. And if I shrink it, it should be doing... It's doing the opposite now. It's going too far to the left. Wonder how you get that to work. Godot, scale, like anchor and scale. Scaling anchored controls. Keep to scaling the parent only, so the root of the scene. Otherwise, by attaching a script or node that will automatically scale depending on an algorithm or lookup. I don't even think you can control the scroll or the scale. I think that the container will override it. I anchor a node when scaling. I don't think this is at all what we want. Oh, interesting. Is there a concept of a pivot here? Pivot offset, yeah. But I'd want this to be based on a percentage. We could probably have it pivot based on the middle of this thing. Is there some like visual node that's moving right now? Yes, there is, that thing. Can we move that? No. Well, anyway, I want it to be somewhere in the middle. And then once it's in the middle, I guess this would work. But I don't think this is a solution. I put that there. And then we try scaling this thing. It kind of works. So now how does this look in game? Now it's way off the screen. You can't scroll it. I go back to my comment of using 2 to 3 different themes with different font sizes then. Not sure if you can change the theme at runtime. You should be able to change a theme at runtime. The thing is, just changing the font sizes I don't think would be enough. Why did that just like snap back? Something weird happened there. Hey, Chris. It's going okay. I think today was overall a good day, but I've been getting stuck on some things. Is Kevin's comment over here? Yeah, I would assume you could change a theme at runtime. The issue I'm hitting is that anchors don't seem to work well with scales. And containers don't let you rescale their children. Have one theme and change its constants. Oh, I see. I mean, I think we could just have different themes. Stuck on what? I'm trying to implement like a UI scaling feature. So something like what you see happening here. This is an example of it working just fine. But then we try applying it to other menus and it's bad. In fact, you can see exactly how it's bad. And like the scaling itself looks fine. Like the text is getting scaled appropriately. It's never looking blurry. That's all Godot handling that. That's pretty nice. And we should probably test it with the adventurers panel as well. Skill tree. Yeah. The positioning is messed up. That's why I was saying it's very tough to make progress here. Maybe we could still find a way to encapsulate this stuff and then resize only the correct node. I just I don't know how hard that would be to do. Yeah, so now you can start to see some fuzziness on this because it is just taking a graphic and cutting out 25% of its pixels. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. Let me think about this. I think we'll need to test some more things out. Well, clearly it won't just be a super easy win here. I wonder what would happen if we tried modifying the size of these things from code, because this doesn't let us change it. Oh, it's not giving us an error either. I'd love it if it said something like you can't control this because it's controlled by, I guess it says this here. This node is a child of a container. Use container properties for positioning. But I would have thought scaling could work for this. And I guess not. And as mentioned, it's only here that this is highlighted. It's not red on this one. Wait, why can we modify the scale of this? Can we modify it on the button? No. I guess since the button is not a container, you can modify the tooltip. But everything else is inside of a container. I think it's magic how you're scaling your UI and your text looks completely fine. It's because of Godot rendering fonts using just a true type font. And any size is going to be fine because they're all vector graphics. So it's the same way that fonts look fine in your text editor when you increase the size. I'll have to put some more thought into this. These are tough problems. Yeah. TTF font, OTF. There's another problem here too, though, which is that even if this all just worked and we pretty much just coded the whole feature just by doing this, then we'd still need to consider how this interacts with the game scale. So for example, I can change the game scale down to 1x and then set the UI scale to like 4x because maybe some players do want to play like this so they can be zoomed out and see everything. Or vice versa. Maybe some people are like, oh, when I create an instance, it's too tiny. So let me scale up the game and then scale. I need to scale up the UI, I guess. I don't know, something like this. I don't know. All right, I'll need to think about that some more. Where'd the issue go? Here it is. Scale since game scale causes issues for people. Oh, okay. And then the other considerations, once this feature is done, we should consider how it works with the game scale. And we should consider, do we have like a battle window scale that I had talked about? We should possibly consider having a battle window specific scale. Although I think 3 scaling options would be too much. Yes, there was a recent update yesterday. I don't recall what your issue is though. Oh man, I wanted to push a change today too. What do we even do? Is anything worth pushing? Probably. I mean, I did change some stuff and people are still playing the game, so let's see what we did today. Remove cost label, update title screen music, improve game logging, that's not really going to matter. Fix clipped text isn't really going to matter. Add tip for how to drop an item. Stop noisy logging, fix bug with drop item tip. Man, there's so little that actually affects the players that was done today. It's still probably worth bumping the version and producing a new build. So I guess let's do that. Yeah, it's worth trying this stuff out, but man, this is tough. I might as well save this thing. Here's my hacky code for reference. In town.cs, yeah. And the only thing that's not here is that we need to save off a Boolean, or not a Boolean, a float up there at the top. Yeah. Cool. Never seen a game that has scalable menus. How can we think this feature has priority over some other things? Yeah, there are a lot of games that do something like this. Even Terraria. I wonder if there's a picture of that. Yeah, this sort of thing. There's a zoom for the game, and then there's a UI scale. The reason I think this is important is because there are a lot of people who they end up changing the scale, but they're like, I only changed this because I wanted to be able to see the text a little bit better. Maybe you have an ultra wide monitor and everything just looks tiny. So then they end up choosing a different scale, but then other things are kind of weird. Yeah, Stardew Valley has it as well. I do think a lot of games implement this. It's probably just not a feature you've needed to look for. If you have, let's say, a 1080p monitor, I would expect that everything should just kind of look fine. I think the problem is when you have any sort of large resolution. I think that, or you have bad eyesight. The character's in battle, you move the main screen around like a maniac, then right after the battle, your mouse gets stuck and you don't have a cursor. I don't think I would have addressed that sort of issue. I'm not sure how your issue happened originally, and thank you for reminding me because now I do remember what you were talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder if it was caused by some other thing, maybe even on an operating system level. Very hard for me to say. May have never needed to look for it. Yeah, it's possible. Okay, well, I saved everything off, so I guess let's go push a new build. Right? Yeah, none of this stuff matters. Okay. Also, technically, in order for this to work, this requires changing town menu to a control. All right. Oh, I got 4 more changes I made. What are those changes? Nothing really important. All right, let's take a look at the log. Get log. Probably like 15, 20. There it is. Okay, so these are the things we actually did. Which ones impact players now? These two definitely do. This doesn't really matter. This doesn't really matter. Tip for how to drop an item, fix the bug with that. Save numb items, recycle doesn't matter. Tip about manually moving items. Small issue. Battle tip go away on its own. That's pretty nice. Stop checking for tips I have no reason to show. That doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so these are the only things that actually impact players. Is it worth pushing those changes? I think so. Yeah. So let's go do it. Project.godot. Let's bump the version to 0.6.3 and then export some new builds. And then I'll go make a news item. Releasing. Whoop, can't close this. Those are my patch notes. A game update. Small update. All right, what did I do for the last one of these? Can I see the last one of these? It'd be nice if I could just populate this with whatever I had already. Let's just go copy paste stuff and put these here before I forget. I'll just paste this here. See past news events, for example. Okay. So this, is there an edit button here? No, of course not. We'll just copy paste it like this. An incredibly minor patch. Did a lot of work today, but not all of it is prominent for players. Here are the minor changes that should help new players slightly. Make battle tip go on its own. It used to be that you had to manually dismiss this. Oh, this must be done. Yeah, it is done. Okay, let's upload to Steam. All right, it used to be that you had to manually dismiss this, which meant that players may miss a more important tip later down the line. Actually, there was one other change that I made, right? Tips don't need to... Oh, no, never mind. I did not make that change. The garbage slime teaches you how to beat it. So it should hopefully be apparent that you may be able to move items elsewhere too. Some people got stuck with an item on their cursor. After 5 seconds of holding an item, a tip will pop up near the mouse saying that you can right click to drop the item. Rebalanced some instruments. Make it better. It sound better on the Steam Deck, which I do want to try out. Move cost label from the item display. These, oh, I shouldn't have that technical name here from item displays. These labels were in camera space. So as you zoomed out, they would become less legible. Now they only show in the tooltips when you hover over items. All right, so save that. I didn't use link to build because it didn't populate. It was just an endlessly spinning loader, and it doesn't look like it's going to populate now either. Hang on one second. Oh, so I got the Steam Deck here. Let's go load up the alpha version. It should switch to update. That button should turn blue. There it goes. Excellent. So we uploaded the builds correctly. And now this next thing is going to be a lot harder to show you, but I want to hear what the sound is like. Is this super loud? Let me put it in front of the... No, you can't hear it at all, can you? I want to pick up anything. Right, well, I'll just listen to myself, I guess. Okay, interesting. It still sounds loud, but it's not as bad. Okay. Just waiting for the end bit. Yeah, the piano being quieter sounds a lot better too. Nice. Okay. Well. Oh, I see. Man, I wonder if we should have just made a second page. It's not too late, I guess. We should probably consider that for next fest. For next fest, consider whether we should have a separate demo page altogether. It may help to have reviews. Don't know. Definitely don't know. Okay, so we got to go make this build public. I can't do this on screen, so give me a sec. All right, select a branch, default. 0.6.3? Yeah. Very minor changes. Done. Now it's going to ask me to confirm on my mobile device. Confirmation, confirm, okay. Done. All right, it's on Steam now. Which means we can post this. Unless you have a separate community hub as well. I don't know if that would be a big deal if there would only be one. That's not what I'd be concerned with. It'd be mostly the reviews, I guess. Also, I wonder if it would help us a lot. I think having reviews would be good if they're positive. I wonder if they're not positive, you could collapse the pages back into one page. They're technically in the community hub. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I could always post to a different thing. So now it should show up here, right? Oops. I copy pasted the title. No, how do I fix that? uh, description. 3, save. Ooh. All right, now does it get updated? It does. Good. Okay, then let's push it to itch as well. There, done. And then I think we're good. Yeah, let's make sure this actually worked. And it should go onto the itch page. I should probably just link to here for the patch notes. Edit. It's not editing for some reason. When will merch be made? Merch has already been made. In fact, I have the Skeleseller hoodie right here. Well, it's a little bit hard to demo without actually putting it on. Yeah, fine, I'll just do that. Otherwise, I'd have to zip it up so you could actually see the logo. All right. Skeleseller. The hoodies don't show up through that link though. You just have to search Skeleseller hoodie on Amazon. If you added an old post, it'll put it in the most recent news event. I wonder if there's a sorting for that. All right, I think I want to wipe all this stuff out and just say major version history. Yeah, we delete this. I'm uploading patch notes only to Steam. So check here for any updates after January 2025. Is it worth even keeping any of these here? I don't think so. I don't know who even cares. I think I'm going to delete all this. Just too much information. Yeah. Safe. Fixed a typo on a year-old patch. So I think it was the most recent news post. It's better to just have the typo. What do the analytics show? Downloads for today, 5. It's always higher on stream days, it seems. And that was the Checkpoint 5 launch. Yeah. Build failed the process. Mac and Windows made it online, but Linux didn't? I mean, it's not really a big deal if it didn't. But should I just try this again? It's going to say there's no change whatsoever. Channel Linux. There's no error, right? No, no error. Huh. Linux is showing yesterday at 7:14 p.m. Have to keep an eye on the notifications. I don't think I've seen this before. Failed to process. No, yeah. All right. Just downloaded the demo 3 minutes ago. Nice, Otterbot. Yeah, let me know what you think. We'll look at some metrics and then. Okay, this is not good. The Linux one still isn't online. Oh, now it's live. Okay, temporary issue. Weird though. So now we should see the updated date here. Yeah, 3:59. Nice. Yeah, so let's look at some of the stats that we had and let's just look through this stuff. No new feedback or no new forums posts. Feedback. We got one new piece of feedback. Let me read it off screen really fast. I enjoyed my time with the game. The objectives and upgrades were straightforward enough to understand right away, and I didn't have any trouble jumping right into hiring adventurers and earning money. Progression was straightforward, which is the kind of speed I like out of an idle game. While I really like the core loop of this game, I found party management to be cumbersome. Trying to remember which party members together could clear which stages was a little frustrating, which was also a moving target since the adventurers kept getting stronger. Also, dragging and dropping items manually one at a time was pretty unpleasant after a while, especially with some game slowdown I was experiencing, probably due to playing over Google Remote Desktop. Also, I really appreciate the alliteration of Skeleseller. I'm not sure how the skeleton fits into the theme of the game, but overall, I do like the game and look forward to seeing what it looks like on final release. I do think the game is actually worth more in the $5 to $9 range, but my game library is overflowing and I can't justify buying things that aren't on sale. LOL. Yeah, okay. I think it's pretty good feedback. What was I going to say about this? The item dragging and dropping, I think we can definitely make easier. I wonder, like, I kind of intended for it to be a thing you can do, but you don't have to do. And I think since there aren't a lot of things that you can do, people are like, I must drag items. But maybe it's because they're also expecting it to be more along the lines of other idle games where like the game would play itself out over the course of days or something. And I don't think that's what would happen. But there's one other little thing. Oh yeah, party management. I wonder, there was another thing I wanted to fix down here somewhere about clearing out battles that you have running. And then what's the other thing we can check? Let's close out of everything else we have here. Just gotta add the fishing minigame. Yeah, I think the slime was a great addition. Impressions, I guess, and this thing. So how many unique launches have there been? We got like 7 today. Yeah. That's like 1 per hour now. Number of impressions. And impressions are mostly coming from the free demos hub and the browse search results. It's kind of interesting that they're coming from the browse results. So the free demos hub isn't really doing a lot for us. My goal isn't to cut back on the dragging items. I mean, the overall goal is for players to have fun. And I think one of the problems with lots of games is that the best way to play the game should be fun. Unfortunately, that's not the case for Skeleseller. The best way to play is to manually do everything. And then you're just dragging items around. So, yeah, I think we need to just allow for a little bit more automation. And there are plans for this stuff. Like, I do want there to be a perk system for the slime. And then it could just automatically go eat items on its own if they're ever over here. Can't close the game because of the scale thing that I have set up. All right. And over the course of today, there was, I believe, 0 Steam chat. Yeah. Well, I'm going to close that. All right, let's go find somebody to raid on Twitch. Let me see if there are any of the people that I've wanted to raid. They're never online when I finish my stream. There are people who raided me that I haven't been able to raid back. Oops. I just closed the wrong thing. All right, let's find someone new to raid then. And let's also make sure that this is actually muted. Raid channel. English, same category. All right, so looking for people with low uptime and that I'm not already following. Should I see a lot of 3 hours plus? Let's probably read this person. Yeah, they've only been online for about an hour and I am not following them. Sounds good to me. All right, thank you all for watching. I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow. I'll be back on Thursday. I like taking Tuesdays and Thursdays to just do a bunch of stuff that's been accumulating, and it's been Skeleseller work and it's been dev work, but it's just stuff that I'm either not doing well on stream or just don't want to do on stream. If you want to join Discord or you haven't wishlisted the game, check those things out. Otherwise, let's go check this person out for a little bit, and then I'm going to get going and relax. Take care, everybody. See you later. Bye.